the basic concepts of democracy. Okay, so this is fairly simple stuff. You've probably heard a lot of this stuff before. All right. But it says on the chart below, we're going to write the 5 basic concepts of democracy and write a sentence describing each in your notes. Okay, so basically we just got to find them. And we're also going to talk about a little bit about a free enterprise system, which, to be honest with you, I don't know why they put any type of economy stuff on this, because I don't ask you any of the economy stuff on your first test. But we will go through it because I feel like it's important that you have an idea. Okay, so just like usual, there are a few definitions. At the bottom of your paper, we don't have them. Okay, I didn't put these down, so we're going to have to write them on the back like we did yesterday. So the first one we got up there is the word majority rule. Okay, you guys have probably seen that before.
Or we're writing like in sections like last time?
No, we're just, this is straight up definition, so you can just write it out. I think you do.
Oh my God, there's only 3, 6, 8 of them.
Yeah. No, they literally have it up there. All right, so with majority rule, it says that the principle that the will of the majority controls the action of the government. Now, before we get into great detail about all this, why do you think our founding fathers came up with the idea of majority rule?
People have different inputs.
Well, I mean, why majority rule? You guys, does that make sense?
Because they had a king at one point.
Yeah. Well, the majority rule means the majority is the most. Like, if we have 100 people vote, what's the majority of 100? 51, right? Because if 51 of them say yes to something, then the other side can't win because you only have 49, right? Now, that wasn't necessarily because they thought it was the best way to do something. The founding fathers thought that with the majority, that the majority of the time they would be more right than they were wrong. You guys with me? It wasn't that it was a good, what we thought was a good idea. It just happened to be that would be the best way to do it, right? In our way of thinking. So, beside the majority rule, it says the principle that the will of the majority controls the actions of the government. We're going to change that a little bit. So beside the majority rule, just put down that the majority would be right more than wrong. Okay? That they would be right more than wrong. Now, guys, am I saying that the majority is always right? No, obviously not. But the majority rule means that the majority would be right more times than wrong. And obviously, the majority is the ones that control the government. Okay? The next one there, the word compromise, we can skip because we're actually going to talk about it on the front of the paper, so you don't have to write it down. The next one there is citizen. I'm not going to write that one down either. I'm pretty confident you guys know what that means. A citizen is someone who lives within the U.S. that is a citizen. Okay? But the next part there, we got a free enterprise system. We're going to answer it just because we got some questions on the front that need to be answered about it. So just jot it down. A free enterprise system. Now this is dealing a little bit with economics, okay? A free enterprise system, according to your book, is an economic system that meets certain characteristics, okay? We're just going to jot down those characteristics, and then you're going to tell me whether or not we have a free enterprise system in America, okay? So the first one up there that's a characteristic is private ownership. So write down private ownership. And I just number these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Private ownership. Within the United States, do businesses and consumers and the government have private ownership of goods and services? Do people literally own things? Like if I go into Walmart, can I just pick something up and leave with it?
Nah.
No. The reason I can't is because they own that product, right? I would have to purchase that product to make it mine. So do we have private ownership in America?
Yes.
Yeah. Where you guys live is private property, more than likely, right?
Well.
whoever you live with pays to keep what they have there. Okay? So yeah, we do have private ownership. The second one we're going to put down private, or not private, but just simply investment. In the United States, can we invest in companies and invest in ourselves to make profit? Yeah, if you invest in a business, you're putting your money into that business in the hopes that it'll make you more money, right? So we do have investment, okay? Thirdly, put down the word competition. Is competition a good or bad thing when it comes to the economy?
Good.
It's a good thing. Why is it a good thing?
Means more money coming in.
Pushes companies to do better than others.
Good. It provides better quality, right? What does it do to prices, you think?
Can lower or rise.
Yeah, majority of the time they lower them, though, from a consumer standpoint,
Right.
okay? So, beside the competition, put down better quality. And then lower prices. I have never found a scenario where competition isn't a good thing at any point in any walk of life, whether it be business, sports, whatever. Okay? So you have private ownership, investment, competition. The fourth one, put down profit motive. Guys, that one's pretty self-explanatory. What's the only reason people run a business?
They want that
They
money.
want to make money, right? Is everybody with me there on those four? Now, of those four things, do we have every one of them within the United States economy?
Well,
Yeah, we do. We have all that. Okay? We have private ownership, we have investment, we have competition, and we do have profit motive. So all that works. Okay? So far, so simple. This makes sense? Yes, no, maybe?
Yep.
All right. Moving on. So, flip back over to the front of your paper, and we're going to start at the top, and we'll answer the questions at the end. It says, on the chart below, write the 5 basic concepts of democracy, and write a sentence describing each. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to go through the 5 basic concepts, then I'm going to tell you why they are important. First thing we're going to do is write down all 5 of them, and then we're going to go back to each one of them and write down why they're important. You guys with me? So, let's start with the first one here. Put down in number 1, the worth of an individual. Now again, we're going to be adding something in that bubble, so don't write it to where it fills up the entire thing. So, worth of the individual. Okay? The second basic concept of democracy is equality of all persons. Now, once you write down equality, underline it. Equality of all persons. Okay? So you should have worth of the individual and equality of all people or persons. Okay? The third one is majority rule. We've already kind of touched on this one, but majority rule and with minority rights and minority rights. And again, guys, we'll come back and explain what all these are in a second. But you got majority rule and you got minority rights. Okay? The fourth one is simply the word compromise. You can write down necessity of compromise, which is up there at the top, but I'm just going to write down compromise. Okay? And then the last one is individual freedoms. All right. Now, let's go back to the first one we've got here. Let's see if we can make any sense out of this. So this basic concepts of democracy are the ideas that our founding fathers had on how our government should be built. You guys understand that? So the first one here is the worth of an individual. It says democracy is based on a belief in the dignity and worth of every individual. Now, is it saying that one individual is better or worse than another one? No. It says individuals can be forced to do things that serve the good of many, like paying taxes. Nobody likes to pay taxes, right? But we do it to help everybody, right? If we wanted to, everybody could run 100 miles an hour down the interstate, but that's not going to benefit anybody. We can get in trouble. That's why we have speed limits. You guys got me? So, it says respect for individuals means that serving the many should not be a case of simply benefiting the majority over the minority, but of trying to meet the needs of all individuals in society. So, underneath worth of an individual, we're going to put down that the importance of an individual is central to a democracy. So, put down that the importance, maybe this will help you as I write it down. You can see what to write down. So underneath the first one there, put down the importance of the individual is central to a democracy. Now, what do you think I mean by that? That it is central to a democracy.
That's important.
Yeah, I mean, a democracy cannot function if our government doesn't think everyone is worth something. You guys got that? They can't just throw, well, this guy, he's homeless, so we can't do anything with him. Or this person hurt their leg in a war, we can't help them. That's not how they look at it. They try to help as many people as possible. So the worth of each individual is central for a democracy. Okay? You guys with me so far? Makes sense? All right, the second one we got here is the equality of all people. Pretty common sense. It says all citizens are entitled to equality of opportunity and equality before the law. This means that no person should be held back based on gender, race, color, or religion. Okay? Pretty common sense stuff. Every person must be free to develop as fully as they wish. Achieving their goals of equality is an ongoing process. And then it gives you the landmark Supreme Court case, Brown versus Board of Education, where they segregated schools. Okay? So basically, let's look at it like this. When you guys started your high school careers 13 years ago, because if you count kindergarten, that's 13 years, and count this one, right, Zane?
Yep.
When you guys walked into that kindergarten class, believe it or not, on that first day, every single one of you were equal when you walked in there, right? Nobody, your GPAs, your all that, equals as it could be, right? And as we go through your educational career, some of you have done really, really well. Some of you have done pretty good. Some of you have not done very good at all, right? Now, I don't know which one you are, and it don't matter. But what I'm getting at with that example where it says equality of all people, here's what we're going to put down first beside of that. That all people, firstly, are entitled. They are entitled to equality of opportunity. Now, what do you think I mean by that? Equality of opportunity. Means that everyone should be given a shot at whatever they want to try to accomplish in life, right? Now, does that mean you're going to be successful with it? No. So I go back to your days in high school, your days in your educational career. Some of you worked your butts off. You worked really hard to achieve things in high school. And once you graduate, you're going to have a lot of opportunities ahead of you on which schools you want to go to, maybe what career you want to go into, whatever the case may be. You worked hard to achieve those opportunities. You guys with me? The people that didn't work as hard, are they going to have as many opportunities as someone who did? No. So should they feel sorry for themselves? No. You had the opportunity to make the best of it. You chose to do something else. You guys understand what I'm getting at there? And guys, that's not just in education. That's in careers. If Coach DeHaven and I came in here and just sat for an hour and a half and didn't make you guys do anything, are we using the opportunity that was given to us to mold young people's minds? No. Right? Somebody's sitting there thinking, I probably don't want you molding my mind. But you guys get what I'm getting at, right?
Yeah.
You have the opportunity. It's whatever you do with it. Okay? And then the second thing that we're all equal to, and this one is very important, is we have equality under the law. What do you think I mean by that? When it comes to the law, is anybody above the law? No. If I am just regular old Joe driving down the road and I'm speeding, should I get a ticket? Yes. If the senator of Virginia is speeding down the road, should he get a ticket? Yeah. Everyone's equal under the law, regardless of race, gender, sex, however how you want to look at that. Okay? Does anybody have any questions about those two? So far, so simple? The concepts of democracy? All right. Let's move to the third one, where the majority rule and minority rights are protected. Now, guys, you know what majority rule is. We just talked about that. It's one more than half, right? That's the majority. Now, let's use the presidential election of 2016 to kind of explain this point. It says democracy holds that the majority will be right more often than that it is wrong, and will be right more often than any small group. Small group meaning minority. Okay? It says the majority will not always make the best decision. Of course not. I mean, there's people who are wrong all the time, or even the right decision. But in a democracy, their choices can be improved or changed over time. Now, the bottom one is the one I want to draw your attention to. It says the majority must respect the rights of minorities and listen to their viewpoint. Now, let's take the presidential election 2016. Not a lot of people in the United States, regardless of what they say now, felt President Trump would win that election. And I think I can say that with people agreeing with me. Okay? I did not feel like he would win that election when it started. Okay? Now, you guys know he's of the Republican Party. Now, the Republican Party is the one that is in charge of the executive branch in government, right? So they are the majority, so to speak. Okay? Now, obviously, he's probably done some things that he wished he had done differently, just like any other president would have. So that proves to you that the majority can be wrong. But let's say that you voted against Donald Trump. Let's say you voted for Hillary Clinton. Just because you vote for Hillary Clinton, does that mean all your rights and privileges as a U.S. citizen get taken away because he won? No. Your rights have to be protected. So, underneath majority rule, with minority rights protected, we're going to put this down. And you've already kind of done this, that the majority is right more often than wrong. So they are right more often than wrong. Okay? But the majority, and this is the second one, the majority must respect the viewpoints of the minority. Just because they aren't in charge and that's on the board if you guys need to see it. Just because they're not in charge, that doesn't mean that the minority, what they have to say, is any less important. As a matter of fact, it's probably more important because you want someone that'll disagree with the majority to help them figure out what's right and wrong. Okay? Is this making sense to you guys, these basic concepts? You guys with me? All right, the fourth one, you got the word compromise. Y'all know what compromise is. What is a compromise? It's when two people, first off, are having a what? Argument. Say, most of the time it happens between boyfriends and girlfriends at your age, right? Girlfriend may want to go to the movie, boyfriend may not want to have to pay for it, so he don't want to go. You compromise and you watch a movie at one of your houses, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of somewhat a compromise. Now, let's look at it on a bigger scale from a governmental standpoint. It says compromise is a key part of the democratic process. That is the first thing I want you to jot down underneath compromise, that it is a key part. Now, why do you think compromise is a key part to the democratic process, guys? Use common sense. We have a two-party system in America, correct?
Well,
Well, we have more than two parties, but the vast majority of the time, either the Republicans or the Democrats win an election, correct?
well,
So, in our two-party system, one of them has an opposing viewpoint than the other, right? If they didn't, why wouldn't we just have one political party and be done with it, right? So, you guys have probably seen this 100 times. Think about the stimulus package that they're trying to pass through government right now. The Republicans have their things that they want to add to it. The Democrats want to have their things they want to add to it. And they're bickering back and forth at one another because they don't want to add certain side stuff, right? But at the end of the day, what are they going to have to do? The American people are going to need what that stimulus is doing, right? So they're going to have to say, okay, I'll take this out if you take that part out. Or I'll add this only if you add this. You got me? So it is crucial that they compromise, because if they don't, they can't ever get anything done. Okay? So, beside of compromise, put down that decision making is made up of various viewpoints. It means different people, different ideas, different things, okay? So different viewpoints, and you find what is acceptable. And this one's kind of long, I'm sorry. You find what is acceptable to the largest number of people. So what this is basically saying is, once, oh, I'm sorry guys, I probably have actually showed it to you. Once a decision is made and all the compromises are handled, this compromise is trying to benefit the most people it possibly can. It would be foolish for our government to compromise something and it affect only a small amount of people. You guys with me? So when they're bickering and arguing back and forth, the idea is, okay, we need to come to a solution that will benefit and help the most people possible of what we're trying to do. You guys got that? Does that make sense, I hope? All right, and then the last one we got is individual freedoms. The basic concept of democracy, guys, it always boils down to freedoms, okay? It says that a democracy cannot allow complete individual freedom. We've sort of talked about this. Remember when I told you of all the freedoms you have, all of them somewhat limited? That's what this means. It cannot let you be completely free. You can't just go running around doing whatever you want to do when you want to do it. Okay? It says that will lead to anarchy and lawlessness. You guys have seen the movie Purge, right? If we let the people run, if the government let people running around doing what they wanted to do, it'd be the purge all the time. Okay? It'd be bad. It says the democracy does require that each individual be as free as possible without interfering with the freedom of others. So just like I told you guys a few days ago, you are as free as you want to be as long as your freedom doesn't violate what? Someone else's freedom. You guys understand that? You can do and go and come as you want, as long as whatever you're doing doesn't violate somebody else's freedoms. Okay? So, beside of individual freedoms, put down that we are as free to do as we please. We are as free to do as we please. Right? As far as our freedom doesn't violate someone else. Okay? We are as free as we please as far as our freedom doesn't violate someone else. Guys, we can do what we want to as long as it doesn't harm, hurt, or do anything to somebody else. Okay? Now, does anybody have any questions about the 5 concepts of democracy? Does that make pretty much sense? We good there? Okay. At the bottom, it's got a couple questions. We'll answer these together. Number 6 says, explain the significance of the term compromise as it relates to the problem solving in the democratic society. With that, what would happen if our government doesn't compromise?
Couldn't get anything done.
Yeah, so I would put that it's explain the significance of it. I would just simply put down that if there's no compromise, would equal no movement forward. We would stand still as a society if we can't compromise. All right? Is everybody with me there?
That's how he knows you're coming in.
Got it rigged.
Extra coat of red flag.
Number 7 there, it says, what are the 4 factors of the underlying enterprise system? You put that on the back. With private ownership, investment, competition, and profit motive. So we don't need to do that. Okay? Number 8. Says, how does the law of supply and demand operate? You guys probably seen this when you took personal finance. But if the supply of something is high, what does that mean the demand for it is? Low. Nobody wants it, right? If the supply of some product is low, then the demand for it is what? High. So if I'm answering that question, how does the law of supply and demand operate? I'd simply put down that they're opposite of one another. If one is up, the other one is down. If one is up, the other one is down. All right, and then number 9, it says, what is a mixed economy? You guys probably didn't know this, but with a mixed economy, that's what we have in the United States, okay? Guys, there's 4 different types of economies. I don't care if you remember what these are, but you've got traditional, free market, command, and mixed. Depending on the name of it is how much government involvement there is. You guys understand that? So if you are a free market, well, how much government involvement do you think is going on there? Very little to none, because it's free market, right? If it's a command economy, how much emphasis do you think the government has on things? If it's a command.
A lot.
A lot, right? And then a mixed is about half and half, right? So we have a mixed economy. So what is it saying that it is? Put down it's when consumers, which are us, producers, which are businesses, and the government make decisions. And what I mean by that is they make decisions on what is produced, how it's produced, and who is producing it. You guys with me? The government, underneath government, put down the words public. And then underneath consumer and producer, write down the word private. And here's what I mean by that. Consumers and producers make the decisions on what goes into the private sector. The private sector is your household. You guys understand that? Like, you could go in my house right now and I'm going to have some of the exact same products you do, but they may be a different brand. Like the washing detergent that I use will be different than what you have, but we still have it. You know what I'm saying? The soda we have in our fridge may be different, but we still have it. You guys understand that? So that's what I mean by making decisions for the private sector. From a government standpoint, they make decisions for the public, as in we're going to paint Interstate 77 lines back to where everybody can see them. We're going to put rumble strips on this road to benefit everybody. We're going to set the sales tax at 3% to make sure that everybody's paying. You know, like they're making decisions on a bigger scale for the public. Y'all got me? All right. So, anybody have any questions as far as that goes right there? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Tomorrow, you guys won't be here. Okay. You will be getting this piece of paper in the Google Classroom, which is your study guide. Okay. Your study guide. There's some definitions at the top here. The final. Okay. List and describe all the. If you fill this out and got it, your test ain't gonna be no problem. Guaranteed. Okay? Guarantee it. Plus,